Hey, welcome back to BSF Recovery Team. Well, we got time now to assemble the rest of our engine for the wrecker. Where are them little dowel pins?
Oh, hold on. Right there.
There's one. There's the other one. Okay. And the head bolts. We got to put a little thread sealer on the head bolts. The thread sealer is just a little blue Loctite. In case you didn't know, the reason for the thread sealer is because most of the head bolts go into water passages. So you want to make sure that you don't end up with a coolant leak through a head bolt.
I just cleaned those and they're putting stuff all over them.
Yep, they need to be cleaned so the sealant can seal against them. If they have a coating of oil on them, then the sealant doesn't work properly. Now we're just going to snug them up with the impact. Don't worry, guys, we aren't torquing them that way. We still go around in the pattern though. Start in the center, go around in a circle, work your way out. Now we can go ahead and torque those again, our circular pattern. We're going to torque them in increments. So we'll start out at about 30 pounds. Now our final torque is going to be 65 foot-pounds, but we want to again torque them in increments. So we're going to go up to 45 pounds on this one. Now we're going to jump up to 55. Then our final torque at 65. Almost lost track of where I was there. Now I'll go back over them one more time. Make sure we didn't miss one. Okay, and we do the other side. Okay, that's all the head bolts. We don't have any empty holes. That's a good thing. All right, time to put the lifters in. We don't have to pre-soak our lifters because we aren't putting brand new ones in. These are the lifters that were in here. But we do want to coat them with a little oil so they aren't dry at startup. And what I want you to do is I'll show you how we're going to do this here. We'll just set the oil down here. So you dip the end in the oil, and then they go down through, see this hole right here?
Yep.
They go down through that hole right there and right on top of the lifter.
Oh, that's easy. Mechanics make this look very hard.
Excellent.
Done.
Next is the rocker arms.
Why are you putting oil on it?
Because that's a pivot point. So I want to make sure that it gets oil before startup. All right, our valve train is in place. Now we need to do a cold adjustment to our lifters. So we brought our engine up to top dead center, number 1, compression. We know that because both of our lifters on number 1 cylinder are all the way down into the block. And our timing mark is at 0. So that means now that we can do a cold adjustment to both the intake and the exhaust valves on number 1 cylinder. Now, I already brought them down to take most of the slack out. What I like to do is grab the push rod and rotate it with my fingers. And as soon as I can't rotate it with my fingers anymore, that's where we start. Then GM recommends 1 full turn to center the lifter. So we can turn the push rod, and there's the resistance on it. So 1 more full turn. So that's our cold adjustment. Now, with the engine at top dead center, number 1 compression, we can also do, which other ones?
Let's see.
So intake?
Intake 2, 5, and 7.
2, 5, and 7. So our intake over here, which would be this one right here, number 2 cylinder. Can't turn the push rod anymore. About there. 1 full turn. There we go. What was the other intake now?
5.
5.
Yes.
This one's the intake right here. There we go. 1 full turn. Okay.
And 7.
7. Intake on 7. So that would be this one right here. One full turn. Okay, now which exhaust valves can we do?
1,
We already did.
3, 4, and 8.
1, 3 would be this one right here. One full turn. Okay. 1, 3, and then what?
4.
4.
4.
Be over here on this bank. And we're doing exhaust, so that would be this one here. Okay. 1 full turn after we can't turn the push rod anymore. There we go. And last one for the is 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And we're doing intakes or exhausts?
Exhaust.
Exhaust. You sure? Okay. Yep. Can't turn the push rod right there. One full turn. So now there's our cold valve adjustment on half of the engine. Now we turn the engine over 360 degrees, 1 rotation, bring the timing mark back up to 0 again, and then we can do the rest of them. So the one trick that I did is I left all of the nuts all the way loose on the ones that we didn't adjust. So now I don't have to have Mark call out the numbers for me. I can just adjust all the ones where the nuts are loose now. What?
Nuts are loose.
Nuts are loose.
Oh.
We all knew that was coming, didn't we?
Oh lordy, nuts are loose. Close like cord, nuts are loose.
Now, I said that's a cold adjustment. There is also a way to adjust the rocker arms hot, but when you're assembling an engine, you have to at least do the cold adjustment first. And then the hot adjustment you can do later after it's installed and running. And maybe we'll go over that procedure in another video. Now we can put the intake manifold on. Little silicone in the corners and along the area where the rubber strip goes.
Yep.
Exactly. Now put the little dimples in the holes. Now the back one. Okay. Well, now we put some silicone on top.
Oh.
Not too much silicone. Now we can lay our intake manifold gaskets in there. Now remember, underneath that silicone there's kind of a little notch in the rubber.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we want to fit it into, is that little notch in the rubber.
Is it in?
That should be right.
I think
Okay.
it is. Okay.
Now we can set our intake manifold on.
Where does it go?
Well, distributor hole goes in the back and the thermostat housing goes in the front. Just like that.
It's so coming together.
And our intake manifold bolts get torqued to 36 foot-pounds. Start in the center, work our way out. Now we can put our valve covers on. And we're just going to snug these up for now because there's one more thing that I want to do after we get it all together, so they will be coming back off. Now we get to turn the engine over, put the oil pan on, button up the bottom end. Which way are you going to go?
I was gonna go that way.
Okay. Very good. Okay, as you can see, we temporarily installed our dipstick tube and our dipstick. That's because we want to make sure that it comes through our windage tray without any interference, so it'll be easy to check the oil. Now we can bolt on our windage tray to our windage tray studs, and we need a little Loctite because we don't want these nuts to come off and bounce around in the pan. So another trick that I like to do is a lot of times these tin pans, the bolt holes can get pushed in just a little bit, so they stick up a little bit more than the outside edge. So I like to take a look at those and see if any of them are dented up too much, like this one here.
Oh.
Maybe this one right here. So we just make a little adjustment to those with a ball peen hammer. There, that'll seal a lot better. Now, again, we'll put a little layer of silicone underneath the rubber ends of our pan gasket, and we install our rubber pieces of our pan gasket. Now we'll put little silicone over the top of our rubber gaskets at each end, especially in the corners. Now we'll set our pan down in place. All right, we're getting close. Just a few more things to do, and we can put this back in the tow truck. Meanwhile, this is what was happening at the new house today. Well, they got some concrete poured. The part for my mom's residence. At least we're making some progress. Thanks for watching, BSF Recovery Team. Keep wheeling, be safe out there, and maybe we'll see you in the woods.